The gate itself up to a 16-foot protection, again, with the sheet pile, supported sheet pile. This is the new design since Katrina. Sheet piles by themselves had some problems, so now we get the A-frames to support it. It's to stop it from moving back and forth. What happened in 72 Canal, those sheet piles moved back and forth, actually pumped the water down and got into an area where you had a mixture of some sand and some loam, and the whole thing blew out. So that's why we've added those A-frames to the back. Also, other erosion down some of that sheet pile, but this is some of the older ones we put in. We had erosion back to here. We put these plastic sheet pile out, taking a little bit of beating. They've been out there for about 10 years, but they actually work real well. Like it was $26 to $30 a linear foot. There's nothing else out there that's as cheap to provide erosion protection. We take an 8-foot piece of plastic sheet pile, we push it in, it goes about 4 feet into the soil. It's soft. We get one machine pushing it down and one of our guys holding it, and it's worked out really well for us. You can see, the grass starts growing out to it once we put this and knock down the way back. It's all about knocking down energy. We want water on both sides, that way we don't have to put any backing. If it was just on one side, you'd have to put a support to hold it back from pushing out. This way we put it in the water, we knock down the wave action, and don't have to do anything else besides that. And hurricanes have been over this thing. Once the hurricane goes over it, it doesn't pick up any of the wave energy, so they survived all the hurricanes in the past. Again, there's some new one we just put, again, you can see it had eroded back to here, now it's slowly starting to grow back. Look at this side over here, too, you see the new growth. We had the governor came down last, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? And Wednesday. And he came and I want to thank Crosby Tubbs. We met and had a little lunch at the hangar. We had a lot of people from the Terrebonne area especially, with Lafourche, South Lafourche, Terrebonne Levee, and North Lafourche Levee were there, gave a small presentation and described what we were doing. Again, we met over here at the hangar, Crosby hangar at the airport in Homer. And then we flew to show some of the things in North Lafourche that were going on, like Dwayne Bourgeois and Corey and the North Lafourche people were doing. Flew down, got to the coastal, then I took over, explained kind of what we were doing here. And then we returned to start the Marjanza alignment. This is the work CPRA is doing. We talked about that. Then we talked about on Grand Bayou, all the work. We slowed down right over where we're going to put the floodgate. The governor was aware of it, but again, never seeing it, this really let him see exactly what we were doing, where we were talking about putting the floodgate. So he mentioned after he really appreciated it, to really, he knew the pieces and parts, but until you see it together, it's hard to get the understanding. And got an email back from Chip Klein saying that the governor really did appreciate and enjoy the trip, just for the understanding of such a large project. And then we flew along the alignment, and you notice, there's so much open water inside this system. That's why they call it a leaky system. When you have the water area, you have to have water control structures go back and forth, like on mitigation levee. Another thing that you look at, we really, if we were allowed to go across this basin right here and not have to build all of this levee, we could have been a full partner because it would have been a great benefit to our west side. But again, the environmental people didn't allow us, but we would have put over here, had some gates, leaky system, and we could have gotten this fresh, and you would have seen this place get back to mass, and you get more biomass in fresh water. We have like 100 plants that grow in fresh water, only a couple in salt water, and the ones that grow in salt water, they can't compete with how quickly the ones in fresh water grow. So we would have had this under control, and you had another situation like that over here when you go to the Bayou de Large area. They were forced to go up and get the road that connects the two ridges here between Dulac and Bayou de Large. And going across here, we could have done the same thing, but again, it wasn't allowed. But you have a lot of water up in here. And with the leaky system, once you close the culverts, if water gets over the top of the levee, the parish has an interior levee system that will allow a tremendous amount of ponding in the area before it would start going over the inner lining of levees. So explain that, it's a little complicated to explain that to the governor. Went down Bayou de Large all the way to the Ile d'Anière chain and looked at some of the work that was done on the chain and some of the CPRA money that's been spent. Now, a lot of that money from the VP spill is mandated that you spend it on the Berry Islands. So, looking at that, you know, the Berry Islands do provide some benefits, but, you know, as far as they are from the broken marsh, I think that reduces the benefits a good bit, but I think we need to look at maybe looking at a second line that we can get some benefits. We've got the twin pipelines going through, where 6 pipelines are in those 2 canals, that if we go along here and get some stability, that we can make a different layer and I think be beneficial for protection and also environmentally a good idea. But anyway, we went on the Berry Islands, came to Lafourche, got a chance to take a look at it. We didn't have time, we were planning to go to Grand Island, look at the Promenade Headland, so we didn't get a chance to go because the time was running short. And we came up to Lafourche Ridge, explained to the governor how, you know, here's Port Fourchon, our taxpayers over here voted to make the port, our taxpayers voted to pay for the levee, and we just asking for some help to make the connection between the two, because this is, you want to talk about floodplain management, that's how you do it. You got a place to work, it's designed to handle floods, and it's done a real good job. We got a place that's protected for a lot of the equipment that doesn't want to be down here and for the population to be. And all we need to do is finish that connection, and it's all going to work. But we haven't been able to convince the federal government to get that done. But it is really, if you look at the future of our subsiding coast, that's what, you know, Southwest Louisiana is looking at liquefied natural gas, some big projects. They're going to be looking, doing a lot of things the way we've done them over here. And again, showed him what we had inside of our system and the lock over here and the benefit to place and getting that in place. And then flew back and again said goodbye, but again enjoyed the trip. The governor said he enjoyed it, and Chip agreed with that. Said he really got a lot more understanding of exactly what our situation is. Any questions on the governor's visit? This is work that's happening along Grand Bayou. Again, for $1.25, we're getting this material tossed up here. Through material, then the contractor has been raising the levees up, and then they fill it up, and everything keeps growing. You know, we had a 4-foot level over here, it keeps on going up. It's mucky stuff, but that's what you start with when you start with nothing. I call it soup on soup construction. You know? And that's and when you're in the process, they built up the edges and building up. Steve, how many passes have they made?
Well, they've made a minimum of 3 passes in most areas, and some areas are getting them to 4 passes because they've still got some material they can get.
Yeah, and one of the things, you know, the whole project, about 6 miles long, and in the middle there was a lot of material. On the ends there was minimal material, but the contractors and engineers found some material where it was kind of skinny. So that's a really good view that we can add another 400,000 cubic yards of material, and we agreed to that extra material coming in. And then we're starting to right now to talk about now what's the best process to start shaping this thing into a levee where it can grow grass. Right now, it's when we've done a similar project like this, but we've had a lot more material to build the levee higher. We used to get bucket dress, so right away the rainfall would get off it. You wouldn't see any ponding like this. And then we go in and cut it every couple of hundred yards. You know, start at the top and just off of the crown, we start cutting 1 foot deep all the way 3 feet deep to make it dry in the middle of the levee, and then start shaping. We're thinking about what's the best way to do it on this project, because again, it's not real stable yet, but we're going to look at whether it takes 1, 2, or 3 processes and what type of equipment might work best. And we're going to know what that is within the next couple of months, and we'll report back to you on how we can handle that. Again, it's sloppy stuff, but we got a lot of stuff there, and we can shape it into something. You can see here's what's been filled in and what's not filled in. And we're showing you some bad places, but of course some places we have, we're up to 13, Stevie.
Yeah, some places it's very high.
Plus 13, which I never thought we'd get that high with kind of stuff.
Depending on which side you're coming from, it's either called Mount Curall or Mount Dupre, depending if you're coming from the Rose or Passion.
Well, you'd rather cure it all, right? Anyway.
It's like the Swiss Alps or the Italian Alps. It depends on which side you're coming from.
Well, stacking up your stuff, we've had a couple of slides, but nothing serious. The material just moved a few feet. And our whole goal is here to get that stuff close enough that we can grab it. And so all of that, even though it moved, it's within a place that Long Beach excavator can take it. You can see here's where it slid. It slid out. Here was the alignment, and then we're loading stuff on, and that weight just kind of pushed it out. But it's, you know, a lot of people get all upset when there's a slide. As long as you got the stuff within range that you can grab it, that's not a problem. You know, it's only if it was, you know, slide all over the middle of the canal, then we have a problem. But you let it sit and it heals itself. That's what's good about levees. You give them a little bit too much, they'll heal themselves. You know, we leave this alone a little while, it's actually got a little bit equalized better because it had some momentum as it went down. So it went past even equilibrium because of momentum. So we just let it alone, let it sit. We've done that several times on some of our levees over here. And again, now you can see that little bit of elevation, and that's kind of, when it starts to slide, you get these cracks in between. All right. Okay, and again, the Morganza Action Coalition is the group that organized our flight with the governor. And we've done lobbying in Washington, and together, North Lafourche, South Lafourche, and Terrebonne that move forward in the things we need to get done. It's time to pay our dues, and they're $38,500. We have a motion from the board to pay the dues for this year.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of the general manager to pay $38,500 as our share of contribution to the my eyes fixed in my mouth goes out. Morganza Action Committee, moved by Max, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
You know, one thing when I was talking to Chip Klein here, they having problems with the central fish habitat. That's a law that we actually had some language inserted in a Senate bill. Now it died, it didn't even get to the House side. But we got, you know, that was tremendous progress getting it in the bill. It's just the way things went. And that's, when you have a subsiding delta, that essential fish habitat law is an impediment to us maintaining our delta, because they want, basically, the philosophy behind it is that you want the water to move back and forth, you want the marsh to erode so it makes more saltwater fish. And that's good if you want just saltwater fish, but if you want a community and saltwater fish, that's not a good, it's caused a lot of problems, and we'll be working on that some more as we go into the future, but it's a problem for all of us living in South Louisiana. The West Side erosion repairs, you'll approve the extra money so we can continue repairing it. We talked about the flyover. The annual plan was not too kind to us, but I had a long discussion with Chip, and we think we'll get a couple things changed so that we can kind of finish our project. You know, with the right amount of money, within a couple of years, we can actually finish the construction we had decided to do after Hurricane Katrina. You know, we were left out of the Fort Supplemental, Congressional Supplemental, to build to the new level. We made a decision what we would do, and, you know, if we hadn't had to slow down for the last 3 years, we would have been finished, but we're real close to getting that done, and if they can come with a little bit of help, we'll be a lot closer. The Adams class action suit, all of the money that has not been given to the people is now being prepared to put in the courthouse, and people who have not gotten it, they go to the courthouse and go through the process. That's not done yet, but maybe by the end of this month, it will be in the courthouse, and we'll be helping them get to that money if they want. But that's gonna happen probably this month. Everyone ramp and gate, we talked about that. Go Mesa, that's the chunk of money that went into the annual plan to help get that out. But this board, signed by our board president, were the first ones to ask the governor not to okay this lease sale. Not because we didn't want the lease sale, we wanted a fair share of the money. We made that request in 2004, after a meeting that I had with Clifford Smith, Ted Fowler. In fact, Ted came up with the idea, let's do something. We got to do infrastructure, we need the money, and federal government was averaging, since 1995 to today, averaging about $6 billion a year. Mostly what this parish and Fort Lafourche was supporting, critical infrastructure. And we didn't have the money to keep maintaining infrastructure, the roads and all the other problems we've had. We sent the letter, the governor said, good idea, but we don't think it would work. We happened to get another letter because we had sent it to Attorney General Foley and also to the treasurer, who was John Kennedy at the time. he wrote back agreeing with what our letter said. In fact, the governor agreed with what he said, she just didn't think it was successful. Well, we had him, holding letters Brian Simon, one of his attorneys, we had several meetings, came up with some strategies, but before we could do any strategies, Katrina hit. Following year, another lease sale, in fact, it was, delivered, sent me an email, said, look, there's another lease sale. So I sent a letter to the governor asking him to object. This time she did. And temporary restraining order was not successful, but the judge went on for 30 pages telling me how that was a good idea and that there would be a good chance of winning. So using that opinion, the governor, I think, I forget the name of the minerals management director, Burton. Well, they actually, instead of appealing, she made a settlement with him. And soon after that, Mary Landrieu had been trying to get some legislation for sharing that money since 1995. Well, she and Senator Domenici got it passed, and Go Mesa, we finally started to get some big chunks of that money. So just want you to know that the board had the courage, you know, we don't want to have a fight against oil production. I mean, that's what butters our bread, you know. But we needed to take some scary action to get it done, so our board played a part, so we're hoping that we start getting a little bit fair share of the Mesa money. Section East South project, didn't show any pictures of it, but the contractor has not put all of his equipment on site, just moving kind of slow. But we expect it to go through in about 3 months. We'll have the material up, and then our people can go ahead and shape it into a levee. That'll bring that levee from 12 feet to about 15 and a half. The East South project, I met with the Scully people from Beatrice, Nebraska. They were down with some right of way that we wanted them to give to us, so we could dig out that area to build the levee hard, bring it back up to about 15 feet. They didn't agree with the area that we had, but they did make an offer, so we're negotiating with them still to be able to do that project. We haven't finalized that. Pump repair update, you know, we've got a lot of pumps that we've been dealing with. Well, we're down to about 4 pumps left. We think by the end of the year, we'll have all the pumps, all 28 pumps in really good condition. The engines haven't been a problem because our people are taking care of the engines and repair them, get those shipped. We had some problems with the gear heads a couple times, and that wasn't too much of a problem. The pumps were a problem, but again, by this, we have about 4 pumps left that we have to overhaul. But I think by the end of the year, we'll be back to where it'll be maybe 1 pump a year, nothing like we've had to deal with the last 3 years. And there was some damage at Murphy Bruce Owens, some of his property damage. I'd like to authorize the president to give up the $1,000 to deal with that property damage.
Okay, very recommendation by general manager to appropriate $1,000 to take care of that damage. Moved by Max, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Okay, engineering reports, annual CPRA.
Yeah, a quick update on C-78, which is the CPRA portion of Bridge L, the eastern portion of Bridge L. We talked a little bit last time. We have the sand fill in the barge now is complete, so that's a good milestone there. The pump station is complete as well. That work. They're pretty much Philway is the contractor, and they're pretty much just working on the embankment now, so that's good. And they're somewhere from 35 to 40% complete with the embankment. So we're still looking at a date of completion, probably July, August, maybe. So I did speak to project manager on James and his about the mitigation work and how what's the deal, you know, being held up and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I know Ignacio, he's the chief of operations of CPRA. I think he had a meeting with you and Reggie.
You know, we talked to the phone,
Yeah, okay. So, you know, James agrees, like we from the construction side don't see a problem with going ahead and starting the bidding. Okay, so I was just curious what was the hold up. I mean, it's that risk factor. He's worried about the project that we're constructing right now, T-78. I know you guys probably discussed this, but being able to finish that flood side slope where the mitigation project is located.
Yeah, the only problem was he was trying to give us the responsibility for his contract, okay?
Yeah.
We don't mind taking responsibility for the contract that
Right,
we're
right.
we're in charge of, but we're not gonna
But
say that we'll be liable for any of that.
Yeah.
So if that's taken out, I think we're ready to move forward.
Yes.
The design's made, in fact, we were ready to move 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a perfect situation to do the work, because we've been in the dry. In fact, it was dry, especially with those cold fronts coming through. Yeah. But anyway, we're ready to move once we're not responsible for it, the contractor that you're responsible.
yeah, we're making progress. I mean, James said it, I think he wants to come out to site and look and make it, maybe help us get that point where we can go forward without that, additional risk. Right now, that's what Ignacio has in his correspondence, so.
But, and again, we believe, because Joe finally started putting the stuff over the edge,
Yeah.
it's covering now.
It is.
That the edge that y'all are talking about being an issue, with the contractor that we have is just gonna do some levee work, small levee work, and we're not touching that area, we're gonna start pumping in material.
Yeah, that's what he wants to come look at, so maybe that would be all he needs.
So, well, once that, again, we will not accept the risk for your
Yeah.
contractor. But, once you release that from us, we'll go forward.
Okay, got it. That's about it.
That's it? Okay, moving on to, no one here for engineers, right? Project engineers. Joe?
On the LA1 flood elevation and a realignment of the Lee Ontario floodgate. Iron Top was the contractor, when they showed you some pictures during the slideshow. They realigned the roadway or a temporary alignment, they placed some concrete barriers. The sheriff's office did come in, put some flashing light signs to tell everybody to slow down, and that did help some from what I can see so far. Hopefully it'll slow them down going through there. I think at night is the problem. You come through at night, it's hard to see everything, and the signs will probably help. But they're gonna begin to degrade the levee in the location where the new gate's gonna be, and then start driving some sheet pile in the next couple of weeks. So that's what you're gonna see happening. And then they did submit their pay application number 1 in the amount of $100,941.38, and we do
Take your
recommend.
recommendation of our engineers to pay our bar and Cabot contractors, pay application number 1 in the amount of $100,000, $941.38. Moved by Roman, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
On the east-south excavation along the Barrow Canal, Southern Delta Construction is the contractor. They did start working somewhat. They've been having a lot of trouble with the weather. They've also got some supervision issues that they've guaranteed they've corrected. We've been working with them on that. We do have the application number 1 in the amount of $15,097.50. We do recommend you pay that.
Okay, engineers recommend paying to Southern Delta LLC, pay application number 1, amount of $15,097.50. Your wishes. Moved by Mitch, second by Mac. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
On the LaRose floodgate, this is the inner improvements, the steel parapet wall, that's the steel wall that goes around the control house. Sea Level Construction is the contractor. They did start working, they're fabricating the steel components right now in their shop. And they do plan on mobilizing probably this week or early next week to start drilling holes to make those steel pieces in place. I mean, they have time, it's going pretty well, but it's nothing happening on the site yet, but it will be. Contractor has submitted the application number 1 in the amount of $33,201 even, we do recommend you pay that.
Heard a recommendation of engineers to pay Sierra Construction, that's good, Southern Delta.
This
Let's
is
see
Sea
that,
Level.
that's good. Pay application number 1 at $33,201. Your wishes. Moved by Roland, seconded by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And this is, the next project is the steel A-frame and concrete eye wall. This is part of the LaRose floodgate. We'll be converting that floodgate to an elevation of +13. Similar construction to like we did in Golden Meadow. Wendell has worked out an agreement with CPRA and the state to fund this project, so we're moving forward with advertising. We still don't have a core permit. We're working with the Corps still to provide them the information, but I think you're still a couple of years away from getting a permit from the Corps on this. But if you have the money, and I think you should go forward.
Okay, we need to advertise, we'll advertise them down.
We're advertising starting Friday or Tuesday.
You asking permission to advertise?
Do you have permission?
We had permission a year ago, we tried to get this thing and had some problems, yeah.
Okay.
How much it's gonna cost?
Well, we think around 3 million, you know, and the Corps holding, CPRE has 5 million.
Yeah, that's what the money from CPRA.
Yeah.
Our estimate right now is 3.7.
It would take a few dollars, right?
Down.
Let's say you could use up the whole 4 million.
He says 3.7, I said 3.1.
I'm always optimistic, right?
I'm trying to give you the truth.
Good luck with that.
Anything else?
So here we got it on tape, we're gonna see.
That's it.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any questions of Joe?
Yeah, the center line survey, when that's, I know it's not priority compared to these, but is that?
We completed the field work, and we should have the stuff to window within a week or so.
Yeah, so my next meeting, we'll sit down and depending on what that says, we might adjust some of our priorities. But I think it's gonna come out pretty good, but we'll see.
We're doing a little bit different than this time. We're kind of doing some more detail on the hard structures themselves. Right now, the hard structures on this just show up as a dot.
Yeah, they're only 100 feet wide,
Yeah,
so
so-
when you're doing miles, you know, this is representing 18 miles, it's gonna be, you know, so just so we can see that change in elevation from the sheet pile to the third, they're doing some little spots to increase it.
So we're gonna try to elaborate and make that more realistic for you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Joe. GIS engineering, John?
Good afternoon, John Plaisance, GIS Engineering. First on our list is, as part of the merger, we have a couple of contracts that are in J. Wayne Plaisance' name. We want to put that in GIS Engineering's name. So we're going to ask that you'll approve that. I think, as soon as this is on the agenda, you think that the board needs to approve that.
Well, let's make a motion, just to be sure.
Okay, we need a motion to assign the contracts from J. Wayne Plaisance to GIS engineering. Your wishes, gentlemen. Moved by Max, second by Mitch. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You got it.
Great, thank you. The by Lafourche water level control, we have got the geotech people out there to check to make sure when we tie into the core levees, the main levees, that we don't hurt those. I don't think that'll be a problem. We're only coming up to +3. I don't even think we're going all the way up the side.
Ridiculous, but anyway, also I'm meeting with Wildlife and Fisheries, because Wildlife and Fisheries has made some of the objections to DNR and why we've had problems in the latest project so long. So I'll be meeting with them, not this Friday, the following Friday. So maybe we can finally move past this thing.
Pump station number 4 upgrades. We met with staff and they come up with the crane that they want to put in the building. We have brought our mechanical consultants out to there, figuring out what the final parts of the building that need to be modified. We've also talked to our structural engineer, so soon we should have a plan. We'll be able to go out for bid on the parts that we need to go out for bid on, but I know Popeye thinks he can do some of it on his own, whatever the board lets him do, we'll go
Is that
ahead
gonna
and
be a
get it.
gantry traps, crane that can move?
The crane itself won't be able to move, but the hoist will be able to move in both directions.
And I want to compliment Drake and all of our employees to do all the work they've been doing those pump stations. And it's been difficult, and they've done it without anybody getting hurt, and, made all the repairs. In fact, that pump station, as far as the pump's in great shape, is all they've done. So again, another hand from guys doing a good job.
Good job, guys. Anything else, John?
That's those guys. That's all I have.
Any questions, John?
Thank you.
Okay, Angela Pisciola, Neil.
Okay, on V North and V South levee improvements, that contract, the Pump Train Partners is continuing the construction. We're recommending approval today of their pay request number 21 in the amount of $61,792.21.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of engineers to pay contract at Fox Training Partners Incorporated LLC. Pay request number 21 in the amount of $61,792.21. Your wishes. Moved by Keith, second by Roland. Cure. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, the next project is the Sea South Levee improvement. This is from Basin to the Apache Farm. That contract, our RLB contracting, is about 70 to 75% complete with the work. We are recommending approval of their pay request number 17 in the amount of $88,598.90.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineering firm to pay contract to RLB Contracting Incorporated. Pay request number 17 in the amount of $88,598.90. Your wishes. Moved by Roland, second by Monty. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
All right, and for Kansas to the Gulf on Reach L, we had a meeting last month with South Lafourche Levee District, Terrebonne Levee District, and North Lafourche Levee District, in addition to CPRA, to discuss the state funding that's available for this project. We're looking at starting levee construction from the Apache Farm to Bayou Bleu, and also from Bayou Bleu to Grand Bayou, with some feature in Bayou Bleu as well, and beginning all that work starting this summer. So right now we're proceeding with plans and specifications to begin advertising this summer. And Mitch will elaborate a little bit more on some of the details of it.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions from you?
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Coates, Mitch.
Thank you. Real quick on the mitigation, I'm currently working with North Lafourche to try to, it seems like we're more efficient on the Pointe-a-Chan side of what's going on than we are on this side. So we may take some action to rectify that. Maybe even ending this contract and coming up with something new. But we're about 65% complete with that work to date, but it is going very slow. And I know it's a concern with CPRA, so we are working on that.
And you're talking about the terraces and.
The terraces, yeah, right. We really haven't moved over to the other side yet to see how much progress we're gonna make. So I've been holding off to see what's gonna happen. We feel like there's better soil on the other side, and that's the idea. As Neil mentioned and Wendell mentioned, we do have $7.3 million from Go Mesa for Reach Out. We devised a plan to spend that on the two sections Neil just referred to, as well as putting some type of structure in the bayou. So we're moving full force with that design to begin advertisement in July, and hopefully that will coincide with our mitigation project going on at the same time too. So we'll start to see some progress there. You know, it's kind of an island, so we've got to build our way out there. We got to get across Bayou Bleu to be able to reach the other section too. So you know, that's going to take some time to get all that done, but if we don't start, we'll never finish. So that's good news. And I know Wendell's a little upset with some of the funding he's received, but we'll work on that too. And last, on L, Wendell and I spoke this morning, we do need to come up with some type of plan, so especially so we don't lose any of that material out there, for how we're gonna deal with that. I'll get with Stevie this week to see if maybe we can discuss an idea with the current contractor to see if something can happen there. And if not, we'll come up with some alternate plan to deal with that. So, but I do agree with Wendell, something needs to happen. We need to take care of that and shape that material and get it in a form that we can build a levee. That's all I have.
Any questions of Mitch?
One other thing, I'm sorry. Neil and I did meet with Williams. We do have some pipeline crossings in that Reach L. We're coming up with a plan to deal with that. There are four pretty large pipelines coming through Reach L. One of which is not owned by Williams, so we're currently doing a little bit of legwork to figure out who exactly is the operator of that line. So
we'll keep you guys up to date as that comes. They seem,
Williams has 3.
Williams has 3, and there's one that we believe is owned by Harvest, but we're trying to nail that down.
Right now, when we cross those pipelines, are we looking to do anything different than just throw the dirt up?
It may require matting, but we're waiting on an answer from the Williams engineers based on the age of their lines and how much pressure and the depth and all that. So we're actually sending a survey crew out there to go check the depth on all 4 of them.
Typically, we would relocate the line or build a sheet pile, but we don't have the kind of money to do that. So right now, we can build the best we can and we'll deal with that.
If they're deep enough, I'm thinking that an earthen mat across is gonna be fine. Mostly to cross our equipment on, right? You know, it should be fine for the weight of the levee. But we'll just see. We're gonna work with them, and what we told them was, you know, if they require us to put wooden mats in there, then we're gonna do that as part of our plans and specifications, so. That's all I have. Sorry.
Any questions of the Rich? Okay, Steve, yourself?
Sure, 2 projects to report on, Mr. Chairman. So the first one is our K&L on-site excavation job. This is the job that we had a bunch of pictures in the slideshow. Again, this project just continues to move. They're not delayed by weather, right? They're digging in the water and placing on the bank. So they just keep working. About the only thing that slows them down is a little equipment malfunction, which I happened to get a text a short while ago saying that the equipment went down today, but I'm sure it'll be back up shortly. Again, we've already exhausted the original plane quantity for this job, which was about 1.2 million yards. You may recall this board added another 400,000 cubic yards to their job, so they're already on bonus time, so to speak. We're putting up more material than the project was originally meant to include. Again, they've dredged about 1.4 million cubic yards now, and with the change order, they've got about 1.6 million to excavate. They're doing about 100,000 yards a month, so probably another 60, maybe another 90 days out there on Reach K with these folks. As Wendell alluded to in his presentation, we're starting to think about now is what do we do after we finish with the dredging, right? How do we kind of dress that stuff up into at least something that looks more like a flood protection feature than that wet stuff you saw in the picture, okay? So that's something, now's the right time to start thinking about that, right? If there's no questions about that, we do have a pay request for this job. Pay request from weekly amount of $168,679.62, which we would recommend payment.
Okay, today's a recommended paying weeks, payment of 15, $168,679.62. Your wishes. Moved by Keith, second by Roland. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Great, and the other project we have to report on is our marsh creation project. It's the other leg of the mitigation. Mitch talked about the terraces that are being done. The other piece of mitigation you gotta do for Reach K and L is the marsh mitigation. Again, that's the project that is somewhat held up on the issues that Wendell and Daniel kind of talked about a second ago, getting the work done by Philway further along so that the work in our marsh mitigation won't affect the work by Philway, which hopefully every day we're getting closer to getting that out on the street based on the discussions we just had, right? So again, I expect that'll be out to bid this summer. We'll be building some marsh down there about middle of the year into the fall. That's it.
Any questions of Steve? Thanks, Steve. Okay, moving on to Acton. Laura?
So update on the Grand Way flood control structure. We're continuing to address the internal and the CPRA comments that we received on the 95% design package. The plan is we're going to complete those in the next 30 days, and that should be to the 100%. From the governor and Chip Klein's visit, it sounds like there's a renewed urgency to fund this. I did get a request from Ignacio to confirm the construction costs.
The estimate is still 22 million. The estimate is still 22 million based on the design.
Right. So I sent that information to him. And only other thing, so next month I'll probably have the proposal ready for you guys for the bidding and construction admin, so that when the funding is secured, we're ready to go.
Any questions, Laura? Thank you, Beth. Okay, legal permits and rights of way.
We got a total of 2 this month. The first one is Greater Lafourche Port Commission, and the second one is Shell Pipeline Company LP. After reviewing these two, looking for the board to approve these two projects.
Okay, motion by Rich to approve this, second by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Mr. Attorney, any words of wisdom?
No, but Tyler Breaux with the law officer Ray Collins. Wendell kind of touched on it a little bit. There's a disbursement company that's handling the checks in the Adams case. Those needed to be changed a little bit. There were some people that ownership changed because as life happens, people die, and so the names on those checks need to change. But like Wendell said, was absolutely correct. Some of the money's going to be put in the registry of the court. That cannot be resolved. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Building permit, Bob.
We had a committee meeting and we decided that we need a new floor carpet in the meeting room. We'd like to see us get one of them. But we gotta fix the door, the leak. That's what's causing us a lot of problems right here. And we'd like to change the locks to number lock. What you call that?
Keyless.
Huh?
Keyless.
All right, well, all that patches stuff. Forget the key.
That one sticks. It's hard to.
But we'd like to have permission for them to do that.
Okay, you looking for that advertising on that? Or are you gonna?
Yeah,
I think we're gonna,
I'll also get the quotes.
yeah, we're gonna get quotes and so
And we'll bring it back
forth.
to next meeting.
Y'all wanna set an amendment? I mean, I don't know what carpet runs nowadays.
Let's get quotes for another one. Why don't we go? Okay. No action needed. Bids first. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing our levees don't leak, but our door does. Good thing we're not in the building construction business.
Finance committee, Mike.
Okay, the finance committee met before the meeting today and must approve all invoices as presented.
Okay, motion by the chairman, second by Keith, that we approve all bills as presented. Your wishes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, personnel committee.
Personnel committee met again before the meeting, and we moving up one of our employees, Dominic O'Reilly, from equipment operator 1 to equipment operator 2.
Recommendation by Chairman Monty to promote Dominic Lareal from machinery operator 1 to machinery operator 2. Seconded by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Any old business to come before the board?
Well, nothing to vote about, just wanted to, when I talked about the Bouvet's now, you know, Belva Blanco really had to have a lot of courage to go ahead and sue the federal government on that resale, and she did it against some advice. But that wasn't all. Reggie Dupree, and Reggie with almost all the things we did with around Katrina and after Katrina, he and Scott Orangel had to change the Coastal Zone Management Act that we had approved in Louisiana to make it so that the lawsuit would be beneficial to us. So there was some other people that played some major parts. I'm just saying we played our little part at the beginning to get going. Again, the governor had a lot of courage to go ahead and sue, and again, with good help with Scott Orangel, DNR, and Reggie Dupree, our senator, made all of this happen, along with all of our congressional operations. Thank you.
Okay. Any other old business? Any new business? No need for executive session, so I need a motion. Moved by Bob, second by Mac. All in favor, signify by saying aye.